The most valuable tech company might surprise you. Even if you thought of Tesla, Apple, or Meta, there's a good chance it's still not as valuable as Nvidia. Nvidia's success story is just as fascinating as its current standing. Founded in 1993 by three engineers, Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, and Curtis Preem, Nvidia wasn't a major player until the last decade. But how did it all begin? And how would artificial intelligence play a role in its future success? Jensen Huang, born in Taiwan and raised in the United States, had degrees from Oregon State University and Stanford. Before co-founding Nvidia, he worked as a director at LSI Logic and a microprocessor designer at Advanced Micro Devices Incorporated. Chris Malachowski from New Jersey, graduated from the University of Florida and had previous experience at Hewlett-Packard and Sun Microsystems. Curtis Preem, also formerly of Sun Microsystems, is credited with designing the first graphics processor for the personal computer, the IBM Professional Graphics Adapter. The three co-founders met while working at Sun Microsystems. Jensen was transferred to Malachowski and Preem's department, and a friendship developed. However, major changes at Sun Micros forced Malachowski and Preem to leave the company. Now freelancing, they decided to start their own company. However, they needed help. They approached their friend, Jensen Huang, but he was initially hesitant. At the time, they didn't have a specific business idea, just the desire to venture out on their own. Huang had a secure, well-paying job with a family to support. Leaving that stability for an uncertain future wasn't an easy decision. Undeterred, the three men met at a Denny's diner in East San Jose to discuss their future company. This now iconic meeting marked the beginning of countless brainstorming sessions fueled by coffee, as they formulated the vision for what would become Nvidia. So, what was their vision for the personal computer industry in the 1990s, when personal computers were still in their early stages? They foresaw the rise of personal computers and knew that major tech companies would be fiercely competing in this market. Nvidia needed a way to differentiate itself. The answer: video games. Computers were primarily designed for function until the Nvidia founders came along. According to Huang, computers in the early 1990s lacked microphones, speakers, video capabilities, and graphics processing power. The Nvidia founders aimed to address this by enabling 3D graphics on computers. This would allow users to play video games on their PCs. Video games were a unique choice because they were hot sellers despite the challenges they presented in terms of computer design. The 1980s marked a turning point for video games, as they transitioned from arcade-exclusive entertainment to something that could be enjoyed in the comfort of home. While Nintendo and Sega Genesis were already established players in the market, the Nvidia founders saw an opportunity to provide an even better gaming experience on personal computers. However, there were a few initial hurdles. First, none of the founders had ever seen a personal computer before. Personal computers were not yet commonplace household items in the early 1990s. Undeterred, they purchased a Gateway 2000 PC and promptly disassembled it to understand its inner workings. Securing funding was another obstacle. They were initially able to raise $40,000, but they still needed a company name. The company's name, Nvidia, originated in a rather nerdy way. The founders used the initials NV to designate next version, when saving files on their computers due to frequent modifications. This led them to search for words containing both the letters N and V. After some effort, they came across Nvidia, a Latin word that translates to envy. They modified the spelling slightly to create Nvidia, and on April 5, 1993, the company that would become a tech giant was founded. Despite having their company established, Nvidia faced limitations with only $40,000 in funding. This sum was negligible in the tech industry, where billion-dollar ventures were commonplace. Fortunately, the founders' experience in the technology field provided valuable connections. Jensen Huang in particular had a promising contact: Wilfred Corrigan, the head of LSI Logic and his former boss. Corrigan advised them to meet with Don Valentine at Sequoia Capital. The Nvidia founders have openly acknowledged their fear during the pitch meeting, even though Corrigan had spoken highly of them and practically secured them a meeting with Valentine. The prospect of asking a venture capital firm for millions of dollars understandably caused nervousness, especially for a startup company. Huang himself admitted to stumbling through the pitch. Don Valentine ultimately decided to provide the necessary funding, largely due to Corrigan's recommendation. However, Valentine's parting words were a stern warning: failure to return his investment would have consequences. Despite launching with $20 million in funding from Sequoia Capital and other firms, Nvidia's first product, the NV1 chip released in November 1995, proved to be a failure. While impressive on paper with features like 2D and 3D graphics, video processing, and audio capabilities, the NV1 was hampered by several issues. Firstly, the chip was optimized for quadratic primitives, whereas the industry standard was transitioning towards triangle primitives. This left Nvidia at a disadvantage, as companies like Microsoft favored the latter. Additionally, the NV1's high cost compared to competitors like the S3 Graphics Verge and Matrox Mystique hindered its adoption. Finally, the Sega Saturn console, which Nvidia anticipated widespread compatibility with, failed commercially. The result was disastrous. Nvidia supplied its partner Diamond Multimedia with 250,000 NV1 chips, but nearly all of them, 249,000, were returned unsold. This forced the cancellation of the NV2 chip, then under development, and resulted in staff layoffs. Undeterred, the company used the learnings from the NV1's failure to focus on its next product, the Riva 128. Released in August 1997, the Riva 128 marked a pivotal moment for Nvidia. It's important to remember that by this time the company was in a precarious financial situation. The cancellation of the Sega NV2 contract provided a lifeline of around $5 million, but their financial runway was limited to just 1 month of payroll. The success of the Riva 128 was critical for Nvidia's survival. Here's a fun fact. This period of financial peril is reflected in Nvidia's unofficial motto, "We're only 30 days away from going out of business," which they sometimes use even today. The Riva 128, short for Real-Time Interactive Video and Animation Accelerator, was a groundbreaking GPU. It was the first to integrate 3D, 2D, and video acceleration, offering a significant leap over competitors. Additionally, Nvidia employed a piece of hardware acquired from a defunct company called ICOs to perform the world's first PC chip emulation for the Riva 128. Unlike the NV1, the Riva 128 was priced competitively and addressed market needs. Within 4 months of its August 1997 release, the Riva 128 achieved remarkable sales of 1 million units, a stark contrast to the NV1's meager sales figures. Less than a year after the Riva 128's triumph, Nvidia released the Riva TNT in an attempt to compete with the popular Voodoo 2. This offering from competitor 3DFX consisted of a set of 3 specialized 3D graphics chips. The Riva TNT boasted twice the rendering speed and higher memory capacity than the Riva 128. However, it fell short of surpassing the Voodoo 2 in both performance and sales. Additionally, the lack of support for the Glide API, a popular choice among developers at the time, hindered the Riva TNT's success. Despite these shortcomings, the Riva TNT was far from a failure. It solidified Nvidia's position as a major player in the graphics card market. The company, having started on shaky ground, had undergone a significant turnaround in credibility and financial stability thanks to the success of the Riva series. This newfound status as a cool new kid on the block positioned them well for their next step, going public. On January 22, 1999, Nvidia became a publicly traded company. This public listing provided them with increased publicity and access to more capital to pursue new ventures. Their next major product would be the GeForce 256, Nvidia's 5th graphics processing unit. The GeForce 256 was marketed specifically as a GPU, a first in the industry. It quickly established itself as a top product due to its inclusion of the world's first programmable accelerator, significantly boosting computer processing capabilities. The GeForce 256 also found widespread applications in the video game sector. The video game industry had boomed into a multi-billion-dollar market and become mainstream by the time Nvidia released the GeForce 256. Companies across industries were vying for a piece of the gaming market pie. Nvidia, however, struck gold with the GeForce 256. As you may recall, Nvidia's early products sometimes struggled due to incompatibility with competing technologies. A prime example was Microsoft's DirectX. When the NV1 was launched, Microsoft's DirectX APIs only supported triangle primitives, limiting the NV1's functionality. This time, however, Microsoft approached Nvidia about using the GeForce in a brand new product. This project, of course, was the Xbox, a monumental achievement for the gaming industry. The deal not only boosted Nvidia's popularity, but also provided a significant financial boost with a $200 million upfront payment. These days of financial precariousness seemed like a distant memory for Nvidia. However, the lucrative Xbox contract came with some internal challenges. The project demanded significant resources, and Nvidia's best engineers were dedicated to the Xbox development. This inevitably put other internal Nvidia projects on hold. There were also legal repercussions associated with the Xbox deal, though these surfaced years later. David Chang, an engineer who worked on the Xbox project, was found guilty of insider trading related to his knowledge of the deal. He and 15 others faced fines from the SEC. Beyond the gaming industry, Nvidia also made strategic acquisitions throughout the 2000s. In 2002, they acquired the intellectual property of longtime competitor 3DFX. That same year, they purchased Xluna, a company specializing in software rendering tools. In 2003, Nvidia invested $70 million in Portal Player Incorporated, and in 2008, they acquired Ajaya, a semiconductor company. This aggressive acquisition strategy came at a cost, and it coincided with a period of antitrust scrutiny from the U.S. Department of Justice, targeting both Nvidia and its main competitor, AMD. Although no charges were ever filed, the investigation highlighted the growing dominance of these two companies in the graphics processing unit. Having secured the title of Forbes Company of the Year in 2007, Nvidia had demonstrably transformed itself within a decade. The company that teetered on the brink of collapse after the NV1 flop had become a tech titan. This newfound status fueled a period of continuous innovation. In 2006, Nvidia released the GeForce 8800, the first graphics card to achieve the processing milestone, exceeding 1 trillion floating point operations per second, or 1 teraflop. Following this accomplishment, they launched the GTX 200 series in 2008, which marked the introduction of the naming scheme that continues to be used for their graphics cards today. Despite its success, Nvidia's journey wasn't without roadblocks. The significant financial investment in acquisitions wasn't the only challenge they faced. Having carved a niche for itself in the gaming industry, Nvidia was no longer the young upstart. However, this success presented a new problem: being typecast as a gaming-centric company. With rivals like AMD and Intel vying for market share, Nvidia needed to diversify beyond video games. In 2008, just a year after their Forbes recognition, Nvidia encountered a series of setbacks. A manufacturing error led to malfunctions in several of their GPUs and mobile chipsets, resulting in a $200 million revenue write-down in the first quarter alone. This wasn't the only hurdle for Nvidia that year. The faulty GPUs not only impacted their finances, but also triggered a class action lawsuit in late 2008. Consumers alleged that these malfunctioning GPUs were used in laptops by Apple, Dell, and HP. In response, Nvidia offered repairs and refunds, ultimately settling the issue in 2010. The new decade ushered in a contentious relationship with Intel, a long-standing competitor. For years, the two companies had been locked in a bitter rivalry. On the lighter side, Nvidia launched a satirical website called Intel's Insides, featuring cartoons that poked fun at Intel. These cartoons depicted Intel attempting to monopolize the market while downplaying Nvidia's contributions. Beyond the playful jabs, however, the rivalry played out in courtrooms. In early 2009, Intel sued Nvidia, claiming that Nvidia lacked the right to design chipsets compatible with Intel processors. Nvidia countersued, accusing Intel of overreacting to the declining CPU market. While the legal battle ensued, Nvidia was forced to temporarily halt production of its N-Force chipset line. The core of the legal dispute stemmed from a previous agreement between the two companies. This agreement allowed Nvidia to design chipsets that functioned seamlessly with Intel processors. The crux of the legal battle revolved around a pre-existing agreement. This agreement permitted Nvidia to design chipsets compatible with Intel processors. However, the agreement was nearing its expiration, and Intel refused to renew it. This decision effectively barred Nvidia from manufacturing chipsets for Intel processors, a significant blow to their business. Faced with this challenge, Nvidia turned its attention to the future: CUDA, Compute Unified Device Architecture. This revolutionary technology transformed Nvidia's graphics processing units, GPUs, into powerful general-purpose computing platforms. Unlike traditional CPUs designed for sequential tasks, GPUs excelled at parallel processing, making them ideal for complex scientific simulations, artificial intelligence, and other data-intensive applications. The introduction of CUDA marked a turning point for Nvidia. It opened doors to new markets beyond gaming, allowing them to tap into the vast potential of artificial intelligence and high-performance computing. This strategic shift not only mitigated the impact of the Intel dispute, but also positioned Nvidia as a major player in the emerging field of AI. The dispute between Nvidia and Intel centered on whether their existing licensing agreement covered specific products. This disagreement led to lawsuits and the satirical attacks. However, by 2011, the two companies reached a resolution in the form of a 6-year cross-licensing deal. This agreement allowed Intel to access Nvidia's technology and vice versa. Additionally, Intel paid a sum of $1.5 billion to settle the ongoing legal battle. The relationship between Intel and Nvidia has improved significantly in recent years. In fact, Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang expressed openness to the possibility of having Intel manufacture their chips in 2002. This is a remarkable turnaround considering the intensity of their rivalry in the early 2000s. The early 2000s were a pivotal time for the technology industry, marked by a crucial debate: central processing units versus graphics processing units. CPUs were the traditional workhorses of computers, handling tasks one after another. However, GPUs excelled at processing multiple tasks simultaneously, making them ideal for complex simulations and applications that require handling large amounts of data. Nvidia, recognizing the potential of GPUs, championed them as the future of computing. In contrast, Intel, a dominant force in the CPU market, was accused by Nvidia of clinging to outdated technology. This forward-looking vision propelled Nvidia to explore the emerging field of deep learning. The foundation for this exploration was laid with the release of CUDA in 2006. CUDA, a closed-source parallel computing platform, essentially functioned as an application programming interface, API. It allowed software to leverage the power of GPUs for tasks beyond just gaming. University campuses played a critical role in unlocking CUDA's potential for deep learning. As early as 2008, computer science professor Andrew Ng at Stanford reported his students' excitement about CUDA's capabilities, particularly its ability to accelerate deep learning. Deep learning, a subfield of artificial intelligence, enables computers to process information in a way that resembles the human brain. The faster computers can process data, the faster AI can develop. Ng's students weren't alone in this realization. From Toronto to New York, computer labs were experimenting with CUDA's AI capabilities and making contact with Nvidia. This was a positive development for Nvidia, as they had identified a new application for one of their most innovative products. While we know in 2024 that AI is a major industry and highly profitable, in the late 2000s it was a significant risk. The potential for success was uncertain. Even though Nvidia was a successful tech company, Huang has admitted they were unsure about it. However, they made a bold decision and invested heavily in recruiting top AI researchers and developing products focused on AI. But as you'll see in this video, it would take several years before the efforts would fully pay off. AI wasn't the only thing that Nvidia was spending money on in the late 2000s and early 2010s. In 2011, the company released its Tegra 3 ARM system on a chip specifically designed for mobile devices. Additionally, Nvidia acquired Icera, a chip-making company, for $367 million. An update to the Tegra 3 called the Tegra 4 hit the market in 2013. That same year, Nvidia acquired PGI from STMicroelectronics. However, the largest expense Nvidia undertook in 2013 was the creation of its new headquarters. The rest of the 2010s brought exciting developments for Nvidia. The company released the first graphics processing units, GPUs, in the GeForce 10 series. One noteworthy acquisition was Mellanox Technologies in 2019 for $69 billion. This purchase appeared to be Nvidia's attempt to enter the high-performance computing space. High performance is naturally desirable for any company designing computer technology, but for Nvidia, it was particularly relevant due to their ambitions in AI. Remember the company's AI research from the 2000s? It was about to pay off significantly, thanks in part to a small company called OpenAI. Even if you're unfamiliar with OpenAI, you might recognize their flagship product, ChatGPT. Generative AIs like ChatGPT rely on large language models to function. And guess which company had spent years developing GPUs, specifically designed to accelerate machine learning? Nvidia. Additionally, Nvidia was an early supporter of OpenAI. This was a perfect example of planning meeting opportunity. A decade earlier, nobody knew if AI would be profitable. Now it was clear that it was. This has created a massive revenue stream for Nvidia, generating billions of dollars and solidifying their position as one of the most important companies in the world. Beyond their work with OpenAI, Nvidia has explored other AI ventures. For instance, in 2023, OpenAI partnered with Getty Images to launch a new program called Generative AI by Getty Images. In the same year, Nvidia celebrated its 30th anniversary at the Denny's restaurant where the three engineers had first met to brainstorm the idea for the company. The restaurant now has a plaque commemorating the creation of a trillion-dollar company within its walls. Yes, $1 trillion with a T. When did this achievement occur? Let's explore Nvidia's revenue history. In 2004, the company's revenue was just over $2 billion. Throughout the rest of the 2000s, it hovered around the $3 or $4 billion mark. By 2013, revenue had reached approximately $4.1 billion. While impressive, this wouldn't be considered the level expected for a trillion-dollar company. The significant shift came in the mid-2010s. Nvidia's revenue ballooned to $9.7 billion by 2017 and surpassed $11 billion the following year. The most significant year-over-year growth occurred between 2022 and 2023. In 2023, Nvidia joined the ranks of trillion-dollar companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. The company that once teetered on the brink of collapse, barely able to cover a month's payroll, had become one of the world's biggest businesses. But how did this transformation happen? How did Nvidia experience such immense growth between the 2000s and 2020s? The company was certainly successful in the 2000s, but it wasn't on the same scale we see today. In short, the answer is artificial intelligence. We've established that Nvidia generates significant revenue, but how exactly does it achieve this? The company has several income streams which we'll explore in detail. First, let's discuss gaming. After all, this was Nvidia's initial focus, and although not its primary identity today, it remains a major player in the gaming industry. Nvidia has consistently strived to create the best graphics processing units in the business. Even after 3 decades, this dedication continues to pay off. The company partners with some of the world's biggest game developers and is handsomely compensated for its contributions. The next revenue stream is cryptocurrency mining. Mining cryptocurrency requires computers with a lot of processing power, the very strength that Nvidia's GPUs offer. While not the company's original target market, Nvidia has identified a niche with crypto miners and continues to sell its GPUs to these users today. As you've seen with the first 2 examples, Nvidia has capitalized on any activity requiring fast and powerful computers for decades. However, in the 2010s, a new market emerged that demanded an unprecedented level of computing power, artificial intelligence. While many scientists believe we're only beginning to tap into the potential of AI, it's already woven into the fabric of our daily lives. When a chatbot assists you with customer service, when Siri plays a song you request, or when ChatGPT writes your emails, these are all examples of AI in action. Speaking of ChatGPT, understanding Nvidia's revenue model wouldn't be complete without acknowledging it, or more specifically its parent company, OpenAI. Consider the sheer volume of transactions ChatGPT processes daily. Current estimates suggest ChatGPT receives 10 million queries each day. This signifies 2 things. First, ChatGPT is immensely popular. And second, its data centers are working tirelessly and require high-powered GPUs to function. As you might expect, it's Nvidia that has the privilege of supplying these GPUs to OpenAI's data centers. Nvidia's revenue growth isn't solely attributable to its data center business. Companies pay to use Nvidia's data centers to avoid managing the hardware themselves. As AI usage expands, so will the profits generated by these data centers. It's no coincidence that significant growth in annual revenue coincided with the rise of large language models and generative AIs. By 2023, Nvidia had surpassed the coveted $1 trillion mark. If AI maintains its current growth trajectory, even more milestones are likely on the horizon. Finally, Nvidia's acquisitions over the years have contributed significantly beyond just expanding market power. These acquired companies are also revenue streams for Nvidia. Of course, no discussion of Nvidia would be complete without mentioning the controversies it has faced. One of the most prominent involved the GeForce 9000 series. While commercially successful, the GeForce GTX 970 faced criticism regarding its advertised specifications. Nvidia claimed the card had 4 gigabytes of memory, but users discovered it was closer to 3.5 gigabytes. Technically, the card could access the remaining 0.5 gigabytes of memory, but at a significantly slower speed. A class action lawsuit was filed for false advertising, and Nvidia settled with affected customers in July 2016. Another controversy arose from the GeForce Partner Program. Companies that participated received benefits such as public relations, assistance, and marketing funds. While seemingly advantageous, some in the tech industry expressed concerns about anti-competitive practices. The program existed for a brief period from March 1, 2018 to May 4, 2018. Another scandal involved cryptocurrency mining. Creating cryptocurrency requires a computer to solve complex equations, demanding significant processing power, the kind offered by Nvidia's GPUs. This led to a surge in sales to cryptocurrency miners. Nvidia even created a line of GPUs specifically for this purpose, called CMPs. Needless to say, these sales resulted in significant profits. In the second quarter of 2018, GPU sales had increased by 52% year-over-year and 25% by the third quarter. The issue? Many of these sales to crypto miners were categorized under gaming revenue. Investors were led to believe that gaming was a source of steady income, when in reality, it was the volatile cryptocurrency market driving the sales. While Nvidia never admitted wrongdoing, they did pay a $5.5 million fine to the Securities and Exchange Commission. One of Nvidia's more recent controversies involved its attempt to acquire ARM Holdings, a British software and chip design company, from SoftBank, a Japanese holding company. The deal, announced in July 2020, would have been valued at $40 billion. The seemingly unstoppable momentum of the ARM acquisition hit a snag in August 2021. Both the UK's Competition and Markets Authority and the European Commission intervened. Their concern was that Nvidia acquiring ARM could restrict competitor access to ARM products, fostering unhealthy competition in the market. Regulators couldn't allow this to happen. By February 2022, Nvidia and SoftBank confirmed the deal's cancellation in a statement. Nvidia acknowledged ARM's central role in computing advancements and expressed their commitment to continued close collaboration, despite not becoming a single entity. Years later, the partnership between Nvidia and ARM continues. There are reports suggesting they're developing ARM-based central processing units, CPUs, designed specifically for Microsoft's Windows operating system, with a targeted launch date of 2025. Now that we've established Nvidia's position as a major player, let's grasp the true scale of its dominance. One way to comprehend Nvidia's size is through comparison. Since we've discussed Intel throughout this video, let's use them as an example. Founded in 1968, Intel has a 25-year head start on Nvidia. Despite this, Nvidia boasts a market capitalization of $3 trillion compared to Intel's $185 billion as of this video. That's a staggering difference of over $1 trillion, making Nvidia more than 11 times more valuable than Intel. This is impressive by any standard. The comparison extends to other major companies as well. In terms of market cap, Nvidia is nearly double the size of Meta, over 3 times the size of Tesla, more than 5 times the size of Samsung, and almost 10 times the size of Netflix. Nvidia's revenue stacks up well against other big names too. While not yet quite competing with giants like Samsung and Apple in terms of revenue, it's important to remember that Nvidia is a newer member of the trillion-dollar valuation club. Its primary revenue driver, artificial intelligence, is also a relatively new field. As time progresses, it's entirely possible for Nvidia's annual revenue to reach the $10 billion range. We can't ignore graphics processing units, a significant contributor to Nvidia's income. Currently, the company reigns supreme in the GPU market. However, this dominance might be challenged. In the fourth quarter of 2022, Nvidia reportedly held an 82% market share for GPUs. While impressive, this represents a decline from their 86% share just the previous quarter. This decrease can be attributed partly to fierce competition from companies like AMD and Intel. Nevertheless, maintaining over 80% market share is nothing to scoff at, and Nvidia might regain some lost ground in the future. But there's no need for discouragement. Nvidia's meteoric rise has only occurred in the past few years, and expanding its workforce takes time. Additionally, its future workforce prospects appear quite promising. As discussed, artificial intelligence has been a significant driver of Nvidia's success. The good news is that AI is projected for explosive growth in the coming years. According to the CompTIA IT Industry Outlook 2024 report, the AI market in the United States alone is expected to reach a value of $594 billion by 2032. This translates to a surge in projects requiring the very data centers and GPU processing power that Nvidia excels at providing. Furthermore, the number of companies currently without AI integration is expected to dwindle in the future. This signifies not only increased profits for Nvidia, but also a potential expansion of its workforce. In 2023, it was reported that half of Nvidia's employees earned over $220,000 annually. For comparison, according to Comparably, the average yearly salary at Meta sits at $141,000, while Intel offers an average of $132,000 and Apple $143,000. While Nvidia's current employee count might not be the highest, it surpasses the competition in terms of average salary. Considering all these factors, it becomes clearer where Nvidia stands. It's undeniably a large company, but a newcomer to the trillion-dollar club compared to others. Its workforce isn't yet on par with giants like Apple or Meta. However, it boasts impressive revenue figures and occupies a leading position in a rapidly growing sector. If the current growth trajectory of both Nvidia and AI continues, these figures could look significantly different in just a few years. Nvidia's reach extends beyond competition within the tech industry. Its valuation has propelled it into a league of corporations so powerful they could be considered countries unto themselves. Considering Nvidia's current market capitalization of $2.7 trillion, we can compare it to the GDP of various countries. If Nvidia were a nation, its economic output would surpass that of Russia, South Korea, Spain, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. This comparison highlights Nvidia's immense global influence. To delve deeper, let's explore which countries contribute the most to Nvidia's revenue. After all, computer usage is widespread, but the rate of Nvidia product adoption varies across the globe. In 2023, a breakdown of Nvidia's revenue sources revealed that the United States led the pack at $27 billion, followed by Taiwan at $13 billion, or China at $10 billion, and other countries collectively contributing $10.2 billion. This represented a shift from the previous year, when income from the United States and Taiwan were nearly equal. In fact, for years, Taiwan and China had even eclipsed the United States as Nvidia's top earners. The recent shift signifies the United States reclaiming its position as Nvidia's biggest revenue generator, coinciding with AI becoming the company's primary focus. This makes perfect sense when considering the United States' significant investment in AI research and development. Over the past 5 years, the US has poured more than double the amount of money into AI compared to China. With Nvidia's business model increasingly centered on AI-related products and services, it's no surprise that many major AI companies reside in the US, driving domestic AI adoption. However, another intriguing trend is emerging. Nvidia's earnings report from the third quarter of 2023 showed a surprising surge in revenue from Singapore, 15% to be exact. Previously, Singapore wasn't a major contributor, typically categorized with other countries. This quarter, however, Singapore made a significant splash, generating over $400 million in revenue for Nvidia. While the United States is likely to remain the top earner for some time, Singapore's rise suggests it could become a more prominent player in both the tech industry and the global AI landscape. The excitement surrounding artificial intelligence is undeniable. While the concept has fascinated scientists for decades, AI is now becoming increasingly public-facing. Just a few years ago, most people wouldn't have considered using AI in their daily lives, even though it was already subtly integrated into many technologies. Now, AI is experiencing exponential growth at both the individual and institutional levels. Consider ChatGPT, for example. After its launch, it surpassed 1 million users in a mere 5 days. This growth hasn't slowed down. By January 2024, the platform boasted 1.8 billion visits. AI isn't just coming to us, it's increasingly accompanying us everywhere. Wearable devices like Fitbits and Apple Watches, at the forefront of the wearable AI market, have been popular for years. This market is projected to reach a staggering $180 billion by 2025 alone. Anyone who dismissed AI as a fad has been proven spectacularly wrong. The impact of AI extends beyond individual users. According to a report from MIT Sloan Management, a staggering 9 out of 10 businesses believe AI will grant them a competitive edge. This pursuit of an edge will undoubtedly lead companies, even those not traditionally associated with AI, to jump on board. Furthermore, a report from IDC predicts that spending on generative AI alone will skyrocket from $16 billion in 2023 to a whopping $143 billion by 2027. These trends hold significant implications for both the world and Nvidia. Firstly, a considerable amount of money is likely to flow into Nvidia's coffers. Secondly, the world we live in is poised for dramatic transformation, driven not just by AI but also by Nvidia's ever-expanding partnerships with key players like OpenAI, arguably the top AI company globally. In a groundbreaking development last year, Nvidia and OpenAI announced a collaborative project involving a staggering 1 million Nvidia GPUs linked together using OpenAI's technology. Currently, OpenAI leverages roughly 20,000 GPUs from Nvidia, and the results have been impressive. Imagine the possibilities with 50 times the computing power at their disposal. This project is unlike anything the world has ever seen before. The potential of AI remains largely untapped. While AI's current capabilities are impressive, passing law exams, generating vast quantities of images, interacting with us, and permeating nearly every industry, they only scratch the surface. What else could the future hold? 2 words: sentient AI. Superintelligent AI would surpass human capabilities in every conceivable way. This prospect terrifies some, particularly Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI. In a public statement, Altman acknowledged the possibility of AI surpassing human expertise in most fields within the next decade, potentially reaching the level of productivity of a major corporation today. With Nvidia and OpenAI's million GPU project, some speculate they might be actively accelerating the arrival of superintelligence. One area they're demonstrably pursuing is humanoid robots. In February 2023, a consortium including Nvidia, OpenAI, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, and other tech giants invested in Figure AI, a startup developing humanoid robots. OpenAI contributed $5 million, while Nvidia invested a significant $50 million, bringing the total funding to $675 million. The masterminds behind Nvidia's success story are Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, and Curtis Preem. Fueled by ambition and likely a significant amount of Denny's coffee, they embarked on a journey that would transform the tech industry. Let's see where these visionary founders are today. Chris Malachowski remains heavily involved with Nvidia, serving as a senior technology executive and a member of the company's leadership team. His focus has shifted towards the research division, and his expertise has been recognized through nearly 40 patents and honorary doctorates from the University of Silicon Valley, 2022, and his alma mater, the University of Florida, 2023. In 2019, he received induction into the Florida Inventors Hall of Fame. The University of Florida further honored him in 2023 with the opening of the Malachowski Hall for Data Science and Information Technology. Curtis Preem, on the other hand, has taken a more low-key approach. He opted to retire from Nvidia in 2003 and enjoys a life away from the corporate spotlight. However, his philanthropic efforts haven't gone unnoticed. He's a generous donor to his alma mater, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and established the Preem Family Foundation with his wife Veronica in 1999. This foundation focuses on charitable giving. In hindsight, Curtis acknowledges that selling most of his Nvidia shares in 2006 for $30 million might not have been the best decision. Despite this, he leads a comfortable life, residing in a $6 million California home and owning a private jet acquired in 2021. Jensen Huang, the sole remaining founder actively involved with Nvidia, serves as the company's CEO. Interestingly, he was initially hesitant to join the venture. Today, his dedication has paid off handsomely. He owns 3.6% of Nvidia's stock, translating to a net worth of approximately $64.1 billion. Not a bad outcome for a plan hatched over Denny's coffee. Jensen Huang himself has also shown philanthropic inclinations. In 2022, he donated $50 million to his alma mater, Oregon State University. Nvidia's story is truly remarkable. Founded with a modest budget and a bold vision, the company initially focused on the gaming market. It faced early setbacks, with the NV1 nearly leading to bankruptcy. However, the success of the Riva 128 rescued Nvidia and paved the way for its future achievements. A significant turning point came with the company's IPO and the groundbreaking Xbox deal. As the new millennium arrived, Nvidia pursued acquisitions that solidified its position in gaming. The company also navigated a few controversies along the way. But most importantly, Nvidia began exploring the potential of deep learning and artificial intelligence. At that time, AI wasn't as widely known or commercially viable. However, Nvidia's gamble on this technology proved immensely successful. Today, Nvidia stands as the world's third most valuable company, boasting a valuation exceeding $1 trillion. It has undeniably surpassed the competition. Thanks to Nvidia's pioneering efforts, the world has experienced the transformative power of AI, and this revolution shows no signs of slowing down. Nvidia remains at the forefront of the AI revolution, and its ongoing partnership with OpenAI is certain to benefit its bottom line. The increasing demand for AI, fueled by data center expansion and consumer adoption, translates into significant revenue streams for Nvidia. However, this surge in AI usage also raises concerns about the potential emergence of superintelligent AI. Additionally, Nvidia's involvement with companies exploring humanoid robots signifies another potentially transformative development on the horizon. The precise direction these advancements will take, much like the nature of AI in 2044, remains uncertain. One thing is clear. For the foreseeable future, Nvidia intends to be a leader in the charge towards an AI-powered future. If you found this narrative intriguing, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. A playlist with more captivating videos awaits you. See you in the next one, and thank you for watching.